Hi, this is Kevin Pawlak with Prince William County's Historic Preservation Division. Thank you once again for tuning into our YouTube channel. I'm standing here along Route 28 near the current site of the Chick-fil-A, just outside the boundaries of Bristoe Station Battlefield Heritage Park, which sits behind me on the other side of Broad Run, which you might be able to see through the trees here behind me. This location during the American Civil War was known as Milford, and it played a particularly important role in the October 14, 1863 Battle of Bristoe Station. Early that afternoon, Confederate soldiers positioned on the other side of Broad Run rolled cannon onto an open hillside. That hillside is still there today, and began to bombard the Union troops that were positioned in the area around Milford. Those were soldiers of the Union 5th Corps under the command of George Sykes. Immediately, these Confederate cannonballs came crashing in to the area around Milford amongst these Union soldiers, many of whom were surprised by the sudden appearance of the Confederates on the other side of Broad Run. And most of those Union soldiers, whether in an organized fashion or not, began darting back towards Manassas. One of the Union divisions here was a division of Pennsylvania Reserve soldiers. And one of those soldiers was a surgeon just 26 years old by the name of Dr. Joseph Corson, who was raised in the area around Philadelphia. As Corson's regiment was pulling back towards Manassas, he realized that one of his comrades had been wounded in the Confederate bombardment and had been left behind in the regiment's haste to make its way back towards safety. And so with one other man, Dr. Joseph Corson came charging back through the Confederate gunfire, again somewhere in this area, to retrieve his wounded comrade, and was able to safely get him off the battlefield and back further to safety towards a Union hospital. For that action, Joseph Corson would receive the Congressional Medal of Honor later on in his life, and it's one of 4 Congressional Medals of Honor that are received or later won by Union soldiers that directly relate to the October 14, 1863 Battle of Bristoe Station. Thousands of people drive by this location every day on their way, either their commute towards Washington, D.C. or their commute away from the city, but not many people are aware that as they are driving through here, they are driving on the Bristoe Station battlefield and where one of those Medal of Honors was received during the October 1863 action. Joseph Corson remained in the United States Army for much of the rest of his life. He died in 1913, and he served all across the country in the years after the Civil War. He served in New York, he served in Alabama, Missouri, and Wyoming, just to name a few places. He eventually found his wife in Wyoming, whom he married there. And just a neat little connection about Joseph Corson: supposedly, according to Corson family tradition, one of the other gentlemen that Corson beat out for his wife's hand was none other than Arthur MacArthur, of course part of the famous MacArthur military family. So as you drive around the Bristoe Station area today, it's very important to note that the 140 acres that we have preserved as part of Bristoe Station Battlefield Heritage Park is, while it may be part of the core area of the battlefield, the larger footprint of the Civil War in the Bristoe Station and Milford area extends much beyond those 140 acres, as evidenced by the action that took place here at Milford, which is now very developed and does not look like a Civil War battlefield at all, unfortunately. There are many places throughout Prince William County that have been developed that share history as well, and so I encourage you to go out and try to find some of these places where some of that history might have been lost, but as long as we keep those stories alive, then we can keep the history alive that occurred here in Prince William County over the centuries before us.